Hey, good afternoon everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Back out in the woods today, down here by the stream, setting up in a different spot from where I've set up before when I posted the videos of the Adirondack shelter that I set up using the DD 3x3 tarp as well as the plow point shelter. Today I wanted to do a video on the tarp tent using the DD 3x3 meter. It's essentially a 10 foot by 10 foot tarp. Figured we would do that, get that set up. I'm going to use the method where you have a center pole. You can use a stick, you can use a trekking pole. Today I'll be using a trekking pole. The only downside to that particular method is it impedes on your space on the inside. So you've got something right in the middle of it. But if you want to get away from that, you can always set up a ridge line like I've done with my other tarp shelters between two trees. And you can use a prusik knot and toggle to go through one of your outside loops in the center of your tarp and lift that up, and then your inside is totally free of any kind of stick or a pole. But like I said, today I'm going to use the trekking pole method. First thing we need to do is go ahead and get this area cleaned out here of some of the leaves. We'll get a little small fire going here shortly too. So let's get to it. So here's the tarp we'll be using. That is the DD Hammocks 3x3, which is basically a 10 foot by 10 foot tarp. Okay, so we've got it laid out. From what I have watched online and learned is when you're doing this tarp tent, first thing you want to do is peg out your corners. You don't want to peg the outside rear corners. You want to come one attachment point in. So we're going to come in one, and then we're going to go ahead and stake that out just like that. Same thing here. Find the corner, come one in. Pull it tight. Peg it down. Alright, then what you want to do is on the sides, just come one peg in from the corner as well. Just like this. Get it squared. Peg that in. Do the same thing on the other side. Square. And peg it. Got a root over here. There we go. Then what you want to do is take your two corners and tuck them under. And we can always come back and tighten these 2 points when we get to that. So on the front of the shelter, you want to take your corner, bring it over to the first tie out in, and then come about 6 inches from that and stake it down. So you're going to take this corner, you're going to hold this, one down, fold this under to where it was going to be at, and then go about 6 inches and stake it down. And you're going to do the same thing over here. Hold this, bring the corner under to where that would be at, but go about 6 inches. And then stake it down. All right. The next step is we're going to take a trekking pole, and even though a trekking pole, is rounded on the top, you don't have to really worry about anything sharp puncturing your tarp. It's still recommended to take a sock or a schmog or something like that, put over it. And what you want to do is essentially go up under here. These are reinforced. Every one of these are reinforced. And right there is going to be the lift point. So let's do this. Grab a schmog. Hold this up a little bit. Had it kind of wound up. We're just going to do it like this. Throw it over the top of this. And then we're going to go inside of here and raise it up in the middle. All right, so that's what you're looking for. Like I say, these are reinforced. Then what you do is you take these two tie-out points, bring them around like this. You're going to take some guy line and attach it to the loops and tie it off back here to where you've already got these stakes in the ground. So I've already got some pieces of high-vis orange that I'm going to end up using. All right, so like I said a while ago, I had some guy lines that I've already pre-cut out of the high-vis orange. They weren't quite long enough to go back there to the peg that I had in that back corner. So I just went ahead and used another peg and a tie-out point. I did a bowline knot and then a taut line hitch to that stake right there to hold this corner back. Now we'll go ahead and we'll do the same thing to this other side. Stake this one down. Now we got that. We're gonna come over here, just do a quick top line hitch. Slide this to get the tension that we need, and if we want to loosen it, we can just slide that knot down. We're going to snug it up like that. That'll give us what we're looking for right now. So let's go back around here, and so far that's what we got. And when you look at the inside, you have plenty of space to lay out your sleep system, store your gear. Those corners that are in the back there that I folded under, I got to crawl back there and pull those in a little bit more, but that'll give you a ground sheet for sitting items like your phone or whatever you've got with you. Now what we're going to do, this will act as a rain fly. You can take and tie this out, and that right there will give you, like I say, pretty much a rain fly. Rain coming down, it'll shed it off, and you'll be good to go. All right, so like I said there, I went back over here with a bowline knot and did a top line hitch here on this stake to pull this out, and again, essentially give like a little awning area there. You can configure this setup to where the front will be closed completely and you can open flaps. It's kind of a triangular shape, so it's not exactly this style tarp tent, but you can look those up as well. Just go to YouTube and search for tarp shelters and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But this right here would be perfect in high wind situations. You got 3 sides of coverage. You got a little bit of open space here where if you did have a fire kind of out front there, or if you're using a small stove, you could cook right here since you won't be using any kind of big flame. Now, if there's going to be if you wanted to have something that you could have a fire closer to, the plow point would be a better option, and the Adirondack or lean-to or modified lean-to tarp shelter would definitely be the better option. All right, so before we go inside it here, we'll just do another quick walk around. Again, for this setup, you do not have to use this extra stake on each side that I did. So if you have a guy line that you've got cut that is longer, like I said, you can always get by with, you can either anchor this to a tree or a stake. So if we just count that one, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You only need 5 stakes. Again, if I wanted to, I've got this tree right back here. I've got enough tarred bank line or paracord in my bag. I could anchor to that tie out right there and pull that back, and it would lift this out some. It would lift that out to give me some more room. So all you do is hook here and lift, and the same thing right there. It just gives you a little bit more space on the inside there. All right, so I'm in here. Definitely a perfect shelter for one person. If you had to sleep 2, you could, but I would recommend going with the DD 4 meter by 4 meter tarp if you were going to do that. So this one here has plenty of room for one person and their gear. Like I say, you can pull them corners out. You can lay your electronics on there or stuff you didn't want to get wet. If you have a separate ground sheet that you carry, you could lay it down in here. But like I say, there's looking out. So again, plenty of room. You would definitely stay dry. You just got to make sure you're not on an incline that water's going to run down and come inside it, like where you got your gaps there. But where I'm at here, I would be good to go. So again, this is the tarp tent. Now it's time to get a little fire going. All right, so I've gathered up some twigs and limbs and stuff. I was going to baton a piece of this stuff here just to kind of split it. Yeah, it's been super wet out here. We had a heavy rain yesterday. So what you want to look for when it's wet out here like that is any of this stuff that's laying on the ground that's sticking up. You don't want anything that's been laying directly on the ground because it's too saturated. Most of this stuff is just going to be wet on the outside. If you can hear it snap, then the inside is good. It's good to use for your tinder. So I'm going to snap a few of these. You want pencil lead size pieces for your tinder to get the fire going. Then you can start putting your kindling on, which is pieces about as big around as your thumb. And then you can start feeding it whatever else you want to put on there. So we'll get these broken up here in just a second. But batoning, so I want to take this piece of wood right here and I want to split it. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to place it on this rock. I'm going to lay my knife on here just like that. And I'm going to take another piece of wood and just tap my blade and drive this knife down through this piece. And this will split this piece of wood for me. So a little bit more. And get it off that rock now because it's about to go all the way through. So there we go. Got that split. You can baton these some more if you want some smaller pieces. This piece is kind of broke, so let's see. We'll do it on this one. I'll put the knife here. It'll be good wood to get this fire to take off. Go ahead and do this one as well. Put it on this rock to get it started. There we go. So now we got some good pieces. We can get in here and get that fire rolling. So let me break up some of those pencil lead size pieces and I'll be right back. All right, so we're ready to get a little fire going here. So I'm going to end up using my cotton balls that I made here the other week. I posted the video on this, how I make these. You just take regular old cotton balls and smear them with Vaseline, just cover them, saturate them, put them in a tin, or you can put them in a baggie and throw them in your bag. These are great fire starters. So what we'll do is we'll get one of these or two of these placed out. We'll start out with these small pencil lead size pieces of tinder, and then we'll gradually work up to the bigger stuff. Diameter of a finger, thumb, and so on. So let's go ahead here. Let's place a couple of these cotton balls in here. Probably don't need but one, but we're going to go ahead and use two. All right. So what we'll do, we're going to use the Mora Eldris and a ferro rod. Go ahead and we'll get these cotton balls ignited. And again, that's what we'll be using. We'll be using the spine of this knife because it's unpolished and it's 90 degree, so it throws really good sparks on a ferro rod. I have the larger 6" by 1/2" ferro rod in my bag, but I always carry this one around my neck with this knife. So let's go ahead and get to it. There we go. Let's go ahead and throw another spark or two though. There we go. All right. So we're going to take this pile and place it on here, just like that. Let that take off. While that's picking up, go ahead and have some of these other little pieces ready to go. And once we get some coals established, I can put on some of these bigger pieces. See how good that took off though? Once I got a good spark to hit that cotton ball, it was instant. One little spark started, but after about that third hit, when I got a good spark to come off that ferro rod, that was all she wrote. Like I say, it's the good thing about the cotton balls and Vaseline. It works really well. Minimal effort. Did not use any dryer lint at all today. So this is my first time using the cotton balls to start a fire since making these the other day. So I have to say I'm satisfied. I'll definitely make more of these and keep them in my pack. And I can make some feather sticks if I was wanting to start this fire. And that's basically where you take a stick like this, take a knife, and you just carve down it and make curls. And it does take practice. I am not great at this. If you slip with your knife, you'll cut all your curls off. And the goal is to leave the curls on, because you're going to lay the whole stick down inside the fire. Basically, you're wanting something that looks like that. It just helps the stick to burn better, helps the fire to take off. See, just slipped and took some of the feather cuts out, but that's all right. We got a fire going. But you get the idea. See there? Lay that on there. And just tell you what, man, these little Mora knives are so sharp. I love them. The Mora Eldris, this little beast is one of my all-time favorites. It's around my neck pretty much anytime I'm out here in the woods. I love this knife. I use it when we cut up bait fish. Use it for cutting food and stuff when we're out here in the woods prepping stuff. So, like I said, it's a handy little knife. And I made this adjustable neck lanyard for it. I love this thing. Like I said, you can slide these knots to adjust it to the length you want, but it works great. So the regular Mora companion knife, these knives do not have a 90-degree spine on them, so I took this one and I ground down a spot of it there. If you look at the spine, I ground that area down. Excuse me. That sucker will throw sparks from my ferro rod like you wouldn't believe now. You can get these knives for like 17 bucks, 18 bucks on Amazon. So I mean, I didn't worry about putting a blemish in it. I use the knife. I don't carry it for looks. I use it obviously like you just saw there, batoning small pieces of wood. If I was going much bigger, I would definitely want a full tang knife, such as the Mora knife Garberg. But this little knife serves me well, along with the Cold Steel Finhawk. It's got a nice sheath. But yeah, does the job. Alright, so I'm going to go collect some water out of this stream. Usually it's crystal clear, but from that heavy rain yesterday, it's a little cloudy right now. One good thing about this stream is it is full of river chub, the horny head river chub. So we didn't know what those were until we were down here fishing, and we caught them, and we ended up Googling and doing some research on them, and they're an indicator of good, clean water. So if you're in an area that has a lot of these fish in it, it's a good sign that that is clean water. So I'm gonna get some of this water here, and I'm gonna bring it back up here, and I'm gonna pour it through my schmog to kind of filter out any dirt or sediment that might be in it. And then we're gonna boil it, get it good and purified, and then we're gonna use it for a freeze-dried meal that I brought out here to have. So let me get some water and I'll be right back. So real quick before I get the water, this is what I'm gonna be fixing. Heard a lot about these on the groups that I'm in and a lot of the forums that I read. Saw YouTube videos on them, but it's just freeze dried. The chili mac with beef, I've heard it's pretty good. You can pick these up at your local Walmart in the camping section. You can order them online. You can get them at all kinds of different places. They're typically anywhere from $8 to $10. This one here, it says it serves 2, but we'll see about that because I'm pretty hungry and not really ate much. So, all right, let's get some water. This will be the first time I've used the schmog for filtering water. It's the first time for everything. Alright, so we've got our water. Now let's go boil it. Alright, so while we're waiting on that water to boil, so the good thing about these is you don't even have to really use any of your cookware unless you're sharing it with somebody. You basically tear the top off, you fill it up to the fill line with your hot water, you reseal it, and you wait 5 minutes, and then you let it stand an additional 4 minutes, and you're ready to go. So hopefully here shortly, we'll be having some chili mac with beef. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull the back of this shelter out a little bit, just using a overhand knot here. We're gonna use a toggle, which is a piece of green wood just cut down that you can slip through to hold it to the tie down. So show you exactly what I'm talking about there. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll run this end of the loop around this tie out, pull the rest of the remaining line through, and that'll right there will grab, and then you basically take your toggle and put it in place like that, and that'll just help keep it from cinching down too and putting tension on your tie out point there. So now that line is attached. If I want to unhook it, just simply pull that toggle out and that line will be ready to remove, just like that. Alright, so I used another trekking pole and some tarred and twisted bank line to, like I said, do that toggle. go around the pole, and then it's staked down in the ground there. And as you can see, that pulls the back of that shelter out. All right, so real quick, while I've got this water boiling here, I want to give a shout out to Chris Spear of Spear Outdoors. He is the author and the creator of the book and podcast and Facebook page, Primitive Camping and Bushcraft. If you are new to the camping and bushcraft community, or if you've done it all your life, I'm sure this book could help hone your skills. It could give you the confidence that you need if you've not went out in the woods and just went out and practiced setting up a simple fire, setting up a tarp shelter, or any of that stuff. That book has everything covered: sleep systems, food, water, how to purify water. It pretty much, it's a resourceful tool. It's an essential. So again, check him out on YouTube, Chris Spear Outdoors, Primitive Camping and Bushcraft. I will post a link for the book in the description, so check it out. All right, so this freeze-dried chili mac is done. Got the water boiled. We poured that in, and we let this thing sit sealed up for 5 minutes with the boiling water. And then you open it up. You're supposed to let it sit another 4 minutes. Just kind of let it thicken a little bit. It looks pretty good, honestly. Check it out. I don't know if you can see it or not. But we're going to find out if it's good. And I boiled that water for a while. So even if it had a speck or something floating in it, it was boiled. So I know it's clean. That's good. That is very good. It's a nice evening, y'all. I hope some of you have gotten to get out this weekend and mess around a little bit and enjoy the outdoors. Weekends are over too quick. They really are. So the fire feels good right now. It's not too cold today. It actually feels pretty decent. Just a t-shirt and a long sleeve here with the sleeves rolled up, and I'm comfortable. Got this little fire going, like I say, and not too bad, honestly. Well, again, I thank you all for tuning in and watching. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, God bless and have a great rest of your weekend.